Hello and welcome to a little snippet of my morning. On this particular day, I was kind of just getting some prep work done. I had some bread to make. I had some leftover vegetables in the fridge that were kind of past their prime, and I wanted to use those up, so I decided to put together a salsa for dinner later. I planned on making some tortillas, and I was going to put together some taco ground beef, and my oldest loves tacos, so this is always a win in my house. This has become one of my easy weeknight meals. When my oldest is at school, I'm at home with the little guys, my husband's at work. It's just something that I can whip up together easily, and best of all, quickly. Ground beef is something I tend to reach for often on days when I've either forgot to take out meat to thaw the night before, or I just don't have anything in mind. I tend to get distracted a lot with my day, and I forget to think about what to make for dinner. So ground beef is something I reach for often. Throughout this video, you're going to see little kids kind of popping in and out of frame. I have 3 children. My oldest is in school, as I mentioned before, and my younger little guys are at home with me. So something that I've been working on for the past few years now is becoming an ingredient-only household. Now, don't get me wrong. That doesn't mean I don't stop for takeout sometimes in a pinch for the sake of convenience, or when we're on the go and I've forgotten to prep something for the trip. But for the most part, I do try to make things myself. Not only do I enjoy being in the kitchen and cooking and baking, but I know the benefits that can come from making things from scratch. I grew up in a household where my mom was a bit of a health nut in the best of ways, and a lot of the snacks that I brought to school were cut up vegetables and yogurts, and I wasn't one of the kids who was allowed to have things like Joe Louise and fruit roll-ups or fruit by the foot. I don't remember what they're called. I am Canadian, so if you don't recognize any of these brand names, well, now you know why. So I didn't have those things a lot as a young kid. I watched my mom make most things from scratch, and I spent a lot of time with my grandmother when I was younger, and she made absolutely everything from scratch, aside from, I'd say, ice cream. They were actually farmers when my dad was growing up, so my grandma made her own cheese and yogurt and butter and all of those things. And she continued those habits when I was a kid, making her own bread, pizza dough, etc., etc. In this clip, I'm just jarring the salsa that I made I had some leftover peppers that were getting soft, tomatoes, and I just added some onions, garlic, cumin, smoked paprika, garlic powder, a splash of vinegar, some chili powder, salt, and I'm pretty sure that's it. And my phone died while I was filming, and I didn't actually get any footage of me cooking down the salsa on the stove. And then I just used my hand blender and gave that a couple pulses just to emulsify some of those ingredients. I did leave some chunks. My husband really likes chunky salsa. And then I was left with a ginormous mess after this. So I paused for a little bit while my bread was rising and did a little cleanup of the kitchen, did some of the dishes to prepare my space to later make dinner. As a homemaker, I spend a lot of my time in the kitchen, so keeping it clean is the best thing for my sanity. So in continuation to my explanation of why I'm trying to become an only ingredient household, when I reached about 21 years old, I would say, I started to learn about all of the harmful ingredients and extra additives that are in our food, ingredients that make it last longer, so preservatives and thickeners and emulsifiers like guar gums and carrageenan and the seed oils and all this unnecessary stuff that is in our food for the sake of convenience. And it was a little bit of a shock when I first learned that, because immediately I was struck with this like, oh my gosh, what do I do? You know, I can't eat this stuff anymore. Nothing is safe. So I slowly but surely tried to find ways to remove some of these things from my diet and from my husband's diet in preparation to become parents. So with all that being said, here I am in the thick of parenting, trying to continue to expand my knowledge and skill in order to hopefully give my children the best start that I possibly can, sharing the knowledge and the skills that I've acquired over the years. And my hope is that as a family and collectively as a community, we can go back to the times of old when it comes to our eating, when it comes to life in general, really. I think we all need to just slow down a little bit. Everything in the world now is so fast, and it's about having everything now. And I think that there is beauty in creation, in making things with our hands for our families. It's become my love language. It's become my joy in knowing exactly what I'm feeding to my husband and my children. And this is just the journey that I'm on. And I wanted to share that with you. So if this is something that you want to hear more about, I would absolutely love for you to stick around. It would bring me so much joy if you didn't mind liking this video, and I hope that you'll subscribe and come back next week. Bye.